What's up everyone, some guy here with another Alliance War video. Season 25, War number 8, we are versing against 碧血丹心. They are a very strong Chinese alliance. They often finish in high masters. This is also Buku Chile's alliance or Not Cool Penguin's alliance. I believe he was the first one to 100% explore Abyss. So that was pretty cool. So going in, we know this is a very strong alliance and very beefy alliance. They are a 71 million alliance. So yeah, very beefy. So I'm gonna be fighting a lot of rank 3s. I think I'm gonna be fighting all rank 3s to be honest. Looking back, and this war is gonna be mainly Quake. Fortunately for me, most of my opponents are Quakeable, so I will be using Quake for pretty much all of them except for the last fight. So the first one here on Path 5, we have this rank 3 Nova on Abom knockdown and heavy hitter. You can use Doom or any Mystic Champ, I think, against him. But Doom will probably work very well too. I will be using Quake, just like any other opponents on this node. You just knock them down while they're concussed and stunned to shut down the protection. And from there, it's a normal quick and shake fight. And moving to the next fight in section 2, we have this thing. It's also a rank 3 thing on Emflow, Intercept, and Sadist. I am going to go with Quake. I think last time I tried using She-Hulk, but because of the visual bug for the protection and the passive fury, it made the fight a little bit confusing at times. Quake also works. It's just gonna be a very long fight, just because at times if thing is not if concussion is not up, then thing's protection will trigger. Thing's own protection ability will trigger, and it just makes the fight a lot slower. Plus, he's very beefy, so I did boost up I boost up a lot for this fight just to make sure I don't time out. I was kind of worried about timing out, because I think at this stage almost all the opponents are running max limber, so the stun duration is going to be very short. But yeah, I don't plan on shutting down the ebb and flow intercept protection just because it's too risky. And I've asked around, and I know some people who have soloed this defender on this node with Quake before, so I just opt in with Quake since I guess it's the easy way out. I'm pretty sure you could use Nick Fury as well for this fight. Might be a little bit safer as well. I think it might just be as long since Thing is immune to bleed. But yeah, I just went with Quake because it gives me more options to bring other champions for other fights. I did bring them White Max Synergy. I will be using his pre-fight. I should have used his pre-fight on this fight to make the fight a little bit faster, but I just kind of went in with it. You always have about 3 pre-fights that you can place with my White Mag, unless you use him and fight someone. I think you gain an extra pre-fight. But usually if you don't use him to fight or win anyone, you have only about 3 pre-fights that you can place. Yeah, I usually place around the mini-boss islands. He comes into play on the usually on the last mini, the limber mini, just because with the pre-fight you can pretty much parry stun infinitely. Moving on to the next fight, we have this Invisible Woman, also a rank 3 on Ebb and Flow Intercept and Readable Determination. I was kind of skeptical about using Quake at first just because of her force field, but looking back, I did ask around before going to the fight, and people have soloed her with Quake before. The aftershock or the concussion timer, if you time it correctly, she will never gain her force field back, so it will always be on a cooldown. So as you can see, her force field cooldown just expired, but because concussion is up, it just went into another I guess round of cooldown. So I was doing a pretty good job at keeping her cooldown pretty much always on cooldown and never letting her gain any of her force charges. I think her force charge is usually what takes all the damage away. So because of that, I was able to steadily make her tick down. And a lot of times you can time it so you can parry right before her cooldown is about to expire to make sure her cooldown stays in cooldown as well. I think she used to be a mini boss, I think in map 6 or map 7, I forget, but I used to Quake her with that too. And sometimes if you're lucky, you're able to get like a vulnerability debuff on you and just get free willpower healing. Besides Quake, I'm pretty sure Torch would work just as well, especially with Nova Flame. And if you have Torch's temperature up, he can't miss, so he can bypass this fight or bypass Invisible Woman's ability pretty easily. And moving to the next fight, we have this Immortal Abomination on Ebb and Flow Intercept and Crumbling Armor and Redouble Determination. It's pretty popular placement. He's usually placed on one of the Redouble Determination nodes. But I will be using Quake. Quake just bypasses him the whole fight or all of his ability. He doesn't have a high physical resistance, so I don't have to worry about timing out. Plus, I'm pretty boosted. I just have to make sure I don't accidentally parry or I don't get touched or anything, because he does have a chance to place a poison debuff on you if upon contact. So you just gotta play perfectly. Alright, moving to the mini boss island, we have this rank 3 weapon X on Stunning Reflection and Stun Vulnerability, as well as Polka Dot Power. I don't think I've ever fought a weapon X in war before, so this is my first time fighting a weapon X. I will be using Quake. Usually Quake does not work for Stunning Reflection nodes, but with weapon X, when you push him into Berserk mode, he becomes stun immune. So you just got to push him to an SP1 and bait it out, and he will stay in Berserk mode, just because upon every time he misses or his hits gets evaded, he will gain 2 rage charges. So he will always stay in Berserk mode as long as he's aggressive and hitting into you. And as you can see, his rage charge just keeps increasing every time he hits into me, because Quake keeps evading. So because of that, Stunning Reflection, well, he will never get stunned, so the stun will never reflect onto Quake. So that is a way to bypass the node and the defender altogether. Besides Quake, I believe maybe Warlock and Guillotine 2099 would be a good option as well. But most of the time he will be unblockable, so you would have to do a lot of intercepts. Guillotine 2099 is pretty good with light intercepts, since her light attacks have a very long range. I've seen her solo this fight. I've also seen Warlock do it too, so yeah. Alright, moving to my last fight of the war, I will be using, well, it is Magneto on, I think, Brute Force, Limber, and some other node. I will be using Torch along with White Mag's pre-fight ability. That way I can get infinite parry stuns. I believe White Mag's medium attacks or all attacks are energy based, so it will just feed into Torch's Smolder. And I just have to make sure I am baiting out his specials. I try to bait out his SP1s since it's easier to fully dex. But I also don't want to get hung up on baiting his special too long, just because of Brute Force. I think Brute Force does get to me a couple times in this fight. I don't like baiting on his SP2 just because I can't really see where the SP2 is coming from. So sometimes if you miss the evade or dex, it can hurt a lot or even kill you if it crits really bit have a high crit. So right now Brute Force was eating me a little bit, but I was pretty boosted, and he is pretty much almost down by now. So an SP2 drop and should just pretty much end the fight. So yeah, it's a pretty simple torch fight, especially with Nova Flame. And that is it for me from this war. Unfortunately, we did not win this war. This is probably one of our worst wars. We died a lot of times to them, maybe because of all of their rank 3 defenders, possibly. Battle Group 2 did not finish, unfortunately. Something must have happened, but we're still currently in Tier 1, which is good. This does knock us down to 15th place in Masters, so hopefully we're able to win the next war and keep winning and just sustain Masters. But that is it for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.